You still check your phone before you go to bed. Not for the news. Not for anything in particular. Just in case, somewhere between dinner and midnight, their name lit up the screen and you missed it. It didn't, and you tell yourself what you always tell yourself. They're busy. It's a busy season. Everyone is busy these days. Then you set the phone face down on the nightstand, and you lie there in a house that used to be so loud it drove you crazy, and is now so quiet it does the same. If that is you, I need you to hear one thing before anything else. The silence in your house is not a verdict on your worth. Stay with me tonight, and I will prove it to you. Gently, piece by piece. This is Blissful Journey. And today, we are going to talk about the parents whose children rarely call. Why the phone stays quiet. What that silence actually means, and what it does not. Why you reread old messages. Why you never call first. Why "I don't want to be a burden" became your second language. And how to finally put the phone down, without putting your love down. Because I think you have been carrying a very specific ache for a long time now. And almost nobody around you understands it. Let me show you that I do. This ache has a strange shape. It is not grief exactly. Nobody is gone. Everyone is healthy. You should be grateful, and you are. It is not anger, either. What would you even be angry about? They have jobs, families of their own, full lives, everything you ever wanted for them. No, this is something quieter, something much harder to name. It is standing in the kitchen at 6 in the evening, cooking for 2 or for 1. While your hands, out of pure habit, still measure for 5. It is knowing their phone number by heart in an age when nobody knows numbers by heart anymore. It is the little jump in your chest when the phone finally rings, and the small, ashamed drop when it is only the pharmacy. You have never said any of this out loud, because saying it out loud sounds like blaming them, and you would rather carry the whole weight alone than place 1 ounce of it on your child. That, right there, tells me who you are. You have been protecting that child from your feelings since before they could walk. You are still doing it now. So, let me say the things you will not let yourself say, not to accuse anyone. Just so that, for once in your life, somebody says them for you. You waited all week for a call that lasted 4 minutes. And when it ended, you told yourself 4 minutes was plenty. You learned to say, "Everything is fine here," in a voice so bright it almost cracked. Because the one thing you could not bear was becoming their worry. You found out about the big news from a post everyone else could see, and you pressed like, with a steady hand and a stinging chest. You learn about your child's life these days the way a stranger would, from photos, from captions, from the outside, and every time the thought rises, they would call if they really missed me. You push it down, because you know thoughts like that can turn love sour, and you refuse to let your love go sour. I see you. I see exactly how much discipline that takes. Now take my hand, because I want to walk you somewhere tender. Back to the beginning, because the silence of today only makes sense if we start there. When your child was small, you were their entire world. I do not mean that as a figure of speech. For the first years of their life, you were not a person to them. You were the sky. You were the warmth food came from, the voice the dark got smaller to, the hands that made pain go away. No sky ever gets thanked. It is simply there. And here is the part nobody warned you about on the day you first held them. The job description was written to make itself unnecessary. From the very first step, you were raising someone to leave you. That was the assignment. Every skill you taught them was a small goodbye in disguise. Teaching them to walk was teaching them to walk away. Teaching them to speak was teaching them to talk to people who are not you. Teaching them to be strong was teaching them to need you less. And you did it anyway. Knowing. Because that is what love does when it is doing its job. Psychologists have quiet names for this season you are in. They call it role transition. The empty nest. The years when the job that consumed you ends, and no one hands you a new one. But labels do not make a kitchen less quiet. So let me tell you what the silence actually is and what it is not. A child who grows up and builds a life is not escaping you. They are living inside everything you gave them. Their world used to have one center: you. Now it has many: work, a partner, children of their own, pressures you never see. Your world, meanwhile, kept its old center: them. That is the imbalance that hurts, not a lack of love. Two clocks running at different speeds. Your days have room where they used to have noise. Their days have noise where they used to have room, and when their head finally touches the pillow at night, they think of you. I promise you they do. At red lights. In supermarket aisles, holding something you used to buy. In the middle of teaching their own child something you taught them. The thought arrives: I should call. And then life grabs them by the collar, and the thought does not make it to the phone. The love is real. It is the delivery that fails. Hold that thought. We will come back to it, because first, I have to name what this waiting has been doing to you. Waiting stopped being something you do. It became something you are. You plan your evenings around a maybe. You keep your voice free of needs, your stories short, your problems hidden. You ration yourself. Careful never to call too soon, never to text too much. As if your love were an imposition that must be carefully dosed. And underneath all that discipline, there is a fear you have never said out loud. The fear that you have become optional. That the person you would die for can go 3 weeks without thinking of you once. And under that fear, an even older one. The fear of becoming a burden, because you watched your own parents age. You remember what that asked of you. And you swore, somewhere along the way, that you would never be that weight on your child. So you shrank your needs down to nothing. And here is the cruel twist in it. The smaller you made yourself, the easier you became to overlook. Not because they love you less, but because you taught them so well that you were fine. You were always fine. You made sure of it. If your chest feels tight right now, pause for a moment. Breathe. None of this means you did something wrong. It means you loved in the only direction you knew. Outward. Always outward. Now, I want you to do one small thing for me. Go to the comments and write the first thing you would say if they called tonight. Not the whole speech. Just the first sentence. I will tell you what I think you will see when you read the answers of the others here. Almost every single one will be some version of, I just wanted to hear your voice. Not one of them will be an invoice. Thousands of parents, all rationing the same love, all afraid of the same thing. You were never as alone in this as you felt. Now here is the truth I brought you here to hear. Their silence is not the measure of your love, and it is not the grade on your parenting. Read that again if you need to. Because I know that somewhere in the quiet, you turned the silence into a report card. Every week without a call felt like a mark against you. Proof that you mattered less than you hoped. But listen to me. Very often, the children who call the least are the ones who are most certain of you. You made yourself a certainty in their world. And certainty does not ring the phone. Certainty is what lets them run at full speed into their own life without checking over their shoulder. The same way none of us call the ground to make sure it will hold us tomorrow. You are the ground. You did that. The silence you are living in is, in a way you never asked for, the sound of a job well done. A child who cannot leave their parent, who cannot go a day without leaning on them, is a child who was never given a floor solid enough to stand on. Yours stood. Yours walked. Yours built. That was the assignment, remember. And you completed it so thoroughly that it hurts. But knowing this is not the end of the story. Because you are still here, in the quiet house, with all this love and nowhere to put it. So let us talk, slowly and honestly, about what to do now. Not tricks to make them call more. You are not a strategy, and neither are they. Just small ways to carry this differently, so it stops carrying you. First, throw away the ledger. Somewhere inside you there is a running count. Days since the last call. Who called whom? I want you to notice what that counting does to you. It turns every phone call into a settling of accounts. It poisons the joy before the joy can even arrive. Love with a scoreboard stops feeling like love. For both sides, you do not have to know the number. Let it blur. Second, send love with no invoice attached. A 2-line message. A photo of something that made you think of them. And then the bravest words a waiting parent can write. No need to reply. Do you know what those words do? They take the guilt out of loving you. For years, thinking of you and feeling guilty have been tangled together in them. Every reminder of you arrived with a small sting. I should call more. Untangle it. Make thoughts of you feel light again. And here is the quiet miracle. When calling you stops feeling like a debt, they reach for it more. Third, say the honest sentence once without the weight. Not, you never call anymore. That sentence is a wall. It hands them guilt at the door. Try instead, I miss your voice. That sentence is a door. It asks for nothing. It accuses no one. It simply tells the truth. You have spent years hiding your one small need behind. Everything is fine. You are allowed to place it gently where they can see it. Once. Without the weight. Fourth, build days that are yours. Not to look busy. Not as a performance for anyone, but because you have spent decades being somebody's sky. And there is a person under that sky who postponed themselves for years. The walk you never take. The friend you never call while you wait by the phone for someone else. The small foolish dream you shelved in a season when everything was about them. Take it down. Dust it off. Because here is something almost no one tells parents. The greatest gift you can give an adult child is a parent who is truly living. It lifts the heaviest weight they secretly carry. The worry that you are sitting in the dark, waiting, and it gives them something new to come back to. Not just a parent, a person. Let them meet that person before it is too late to ask. And fifth, when the call finally comes, let it be joy, not accounting. Do not spend the first precious minute on how long it has been. They know how long it has been. The guilt rode with them all the way to the dial button. Greet them the way you greeted them at 5 years old, coming through the door. As if their arrival is the best thing that happened today. Because it is. Make calling you the lightest thing in their week, and watch what happens to the phone. Now, before we finish, there is one more thing I want to leave with you. You keep saying the house is empty. But quiet is not the same as empty. You are in the way they hold a fork. In the sayings they repeat without knowing where they came from. In how they comfort their own children at 3 in the morning. In their courage, which is really your courage, worn a size smaller. You are not forgotten. You are woven in. A person cannot forget you when half of who they are is made of you. So tonight, leave the phone face up if you like. But do not sit guarding it. Cook the meal you like. Call the friend. Take the walk. Live your evening like it belongs to you, because it does. You did enough. You are still their home. And a home does not chase anyone down the road. It just stays warm, and it stays lit. And sooner or later, everyone turns back toward the light they came from. If this reached you tonight, leave that first sentence in the comments. The one you would say if they called. And if you are the child reading this, and you know you are, you know exactly what to do tonight. And if someone you love is always fine, always doing great over here, send this to them. Their voice will tell you the rest. You are allowed to stop waiting. You are allowed to be a person again, and not just a lighthouse. The love does not go anywhere. It never did. This is Blissful Journey.